Okay, I'm going to try to be a little more focused in this and keep it short. I want to concentrate on the differences between black people on the Maury Povich show and white people on the Maury Povich show. This is an interesting window into our society, and it's only a segment of our society. But that segment represents a different percentage of whites and blacks. Now, the issue on Maury is normally that of paternity. Am I the father? Are you the father? Is he the father? Is one of these three gentlemen the father? She's been here and tested 14 times. Could this guy be the father? Etc. Now, these had white people and black people. Okay? But differences begin to occur, and it's in the attitude of the people. The black woman, as I was trying to say earlier, is always giving the black guy hell. Oh, he ain't never there. Look at these pictures. They look identical. The black man is saying that baby doesn't look anything like me, Maury. I don't want to be the father. But if I am, I'll step up. That's the way Maury asked. Will you step up? Will you be in a child's life? Yeah, Maury, I'll step up. Of course, I'll step up. No, he won't, Maury. No, he won't. Why would he not? Maury has to say, give him a chance. So the results are, I'm going to read them right now. And he'll say, in the case of little Nathan, Xavier, you are not the father. And on that R, the woman's jumping up like, I got his ass. And the guy's looking like, oh, I've been gotten anyway. Wait, not? And he'll get up and do what's become known as the not the father dance. It's different with white people. Let me just put a few more finer points on it. The black people, the black woman will approach the man afterwards yelling things like, I'm going to get child support out of you, you're going to pay now. In other words, it's always a payday for her. She doesn't want the relationship with the man. She wants the money. The black man knows that, and he wants to avoid that, man. That's why he doesn't try to involve himself too much in black women's lives. But somehow, the man is not usually the father. That means this woman was sleeping with someone else right around the same time, and there is a question of paternity. And some of them will say, I'm 1,000,000% sure, and all this. And they're not. They're lying, and they're trying to entrap. Maybe they really don't know. They need that DNA test. They're just cycling through the guys that they were fucking that week. So, they're fucking each other. Black people. All right? But black guys are out there pursuing white women and avoiding black women. And it's totally sensible. I totally understand that. Now, black women say it's hard for them to get married because of this. It's hard for them to find a man. And I think I'll talk just for a second about my use of the N-word. N-word. It's never been about the word nigger. People getting upset or doing that because they're opportunists and they're taking the opportunity to act like they're upset so they can make some kind of gain out of it somehow. All right? You could say Negro and people get offended today, though they asked to be called that before, and the United Negro College Fund is a fine example. In the movie Bamboozled, the woman refers to the character Delacroix and says he's not black, he's a Negro. Meaning he's like, wanting to be articulate for the white man and all this and be uppity, in lack of a better word. So, no matter what you call black people, they ask to change that. And eventually, any word you use will be considered an insult. Already, Ice Cube said, calling me an African American? Like it's fair again? Shit. Yeah. Way before that, a bit before that, 5 so years. KRS-One of Boogie Down Productions on the album Edutainment says, in one of the songs, I don't remember which track, okay, but might have been Black Man in Effect. He says, calling me an African American, not quite African, but not quite American. And I don't remember the exact meter and tone of it, but that's the gist of it. You get the idea that people are already in culture, they've complained about it already. Okay? I can't remember. I said I wasn't going to ramble, but I really have, haven't I? Anyway, let's go on to the white people. Okay, they get out there, and what we're seeing on Maury, almost without fail, these are white trash. And here's where the contrast comes in. When you're seeing black people on Maury Povich, you're not seeing the black trash. Sometimes, yes, they are that way. I have a guest Forever here. I would call her Forever, but she insists that her name is Forever. And, I can't even keep track of what I'm saying because that's so ridiculous. But it really happened, man. I swear to you that it happened. Okay. Anyway, you get the white people in there, and they are white trash, and the black people in there, for the most part, are just normal, average black people that don't know the paternity of the baby, because that's a normal black thing, not to know the paternity. Now, there's terrible results from that. I'll get back to the white people. Fuck them. They're white trash. They're inbred. It's always the chick has fucked the brother, but both guys, I hope I am the father. Even if I ain't Maury, I'll raise that baby like my own. That's what's white. That sums them up, okay? That sums it up right there. And then, of course, there's interracial couples on there, too. But these white girls are basically adopting the culture of black women. And let me tell you something, white girls that are trying to get with black men because you're exhausted with trying with white men. They want too much. They want you to be too skinny. They want you to have certain boobs or whatever. And a black man will take you like you are. Of course you're going over there, naturally. Anyway, these women get on there and it's only mildly different. They're also often, they've got the wrong guy. They could have 3 guys up there sometimes and they've got the wrong guy. That means they were fucking more dudes, and their baby is clearly mixed. That means they were fucking more black dudes that week. That's what that means. And they're trying to set them up, knock them down, get that child support, etc. So they're doing the same thing. And you know what? The black man, he's getting smart about that, and he wants to avoid that. Black man doesn't want a white woman that's all, man, I talk like this and all that. He doesn't want a white girl that acts ghetto. He doesn't like that. He wants a white girl. So you're not doing yourself a favor when you act like that and you try, I see myself as a black. I adopt black culture. You're fucking up. That's not even what he wants. And he's getting smart about it and more selective about it. Okay? And I guess I covered the white people in Maury. Now I've covered the interracial couple, etc. And often in that formation, the black guy is happy to be the father. And he said, you know what, I'm going to make a relationship. But will there be fidelity? Come on, man. I talked a little bit about the 5th wife syndrome. There's another guy with 89 wives in Nigeria. How about that? Over 150 offspring living in a apartment complex, basically, that's their house. He's been accused of holding them as slaves. But the people, they'll tell you, man, the wives will tell you, how can a man have 1 or 2 wives? He'd be having trouble. He needs at least 4 wives. And it's okay. Islam does not specifically say that you can't have more than 4. Even Jacob Zuma, I believe he's the president now of South Africa. He has 5 wives now, and very little controversy is called to that. Very little. Now, when I see that in black culture worldwide, I think often that these people that say they're the black Hebrew Israelites, maybe you've got something. Because, Abraham, he went through this where he was impregnating multiple wives. And each of them was trying to get pregnant so that they could maybe be with him and he would live with them. In other words, they lived in certain places and he was nomadic between those places. Man, that's the black man today, or the black men I know are often that way. I know one guy that's now in a dedicated way, and he has a Russian girl. So, I'm sure he's going to stay dedicated to her, man. I'm sure of it. But other guys are not going to be dedicated, man. And it is to me, evidence that Abraham and his offspring could have been black because they were near that region. There's no reason that they couldn't be black. But then you get into the New Testament, which is a long time later, okay? And they're wanting to say, well, Jesus was black and he was of pure generations, etc., and all this, and they're just making it a racial issue, and it is really spreading really strong on the internet, and it is going to cause a racial divide. You know, recently near my area in a town called Nahunta, the KKK came and had a rally. Lots of people were there. Lots of people cheered. The topic was about illegal immigration and shit like this. Nothing to do with black people at all, period. But there were black people there making trouble and making noise and hollering and heckling the whole time, and you're just fucking up like that. You're just showing that you want a double standard, and really you need to go just set up your own anti-demonstration, which was happening on the other side of the block, and just go over there and have that sentiment. Don't bring a contrary sentiment to a gathering and expect it just to be okay forever. It's not okay. There's got to be one standard of equality in this country where nobody is making any judgments by race if you want equality. Black people have had more than equality, and they've abused it. So the younger generation has never, ever, ever had any suffering under Jim Crow era, Restoration, or the era of slavery in America, what they probably are going to start calling the triangular trade or something like that, the transatlantic slave trade, okay? Uh, if I'm going to just step to this, if blacks want to always look at that slavery as being the reason for their problem, you got to look a little further back. You can't just stop at a certain point in history and say this is where it all began, because y'all were gathering each other up and selling each other over there in Africa at first, at least. All right? And somewhere down the line, every one of you probably has an ancestor that owns slaves, or you probably have a distant cousin owning slaves in Africa now, because that's what goes on in Africa. And slavery is an African thing. Arabs were doing it to Africans and to each other. Semitic peoples do it to each other in ancient history. But the European purchased, and it was there's the biggest buyer's remorse in history ever from that. Okay, he purchased the black man and made the mistake of bringing him to America, and then trying to later act like, oh, it's all okay now. It's all fine now. That's not going to work out, apparently, because the youth are so resentful and so unappreciative, and most of them are born out of wedlock. And one more thing that's causing is people don't know who the father is, but they don't move away. They stay right there in their community. And generations are raised in the same community. So they end up fucking everybody, growing up being teenagers, fucking everybody, fucking their half-sisters and half-brothers without even knowing who's who. Now that's lowering IQs, and it's causing a big problem, man, and people are just getting passed on, passed on. Finally, I see people like Sharpton stepping up and saying, it is racism to expect less from a black student. Man, I could not agree with you more. That is institutionalized degradation of black people. They think they're helping them by giving them extra points on their SAT, but you are enabling ignorance. And that's all there is to it, man. And if you enable ignorance and you enable not working, you enable getting pregnant for money, you're going to enable infidelity. Sorry. I can see I'm growing short on time, so it's making me want to wrap it up somehow, some clean wrap up, but there's not one. That's my point.